And just like that, it's Wednesday. Wednesday. I'm Russ Kane. I know I'm not normally here on a Wednesday, but what the heck? We're getting there. With the one, the only, Mister N.L.P. himself, which of course stands for Neil Long Presenter. Neil Long.
Depends what time of day I'm on. Midday.
Are you well? Are you all right? Are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, I'm
you
good.
haven't got the lurgy or anything. You're okay.
No.
Thank goodness for that. That's the main thing. That's all that matters. Well, yesterday, wow, this is Brian. Hello, Brian. Afternoon, Neil and Ross. Good afternoon to you, Brian. What did I get today? Things move at such a terribly slow rate. I wrote the book The Gatekeeper. It was 5 years ago now that it came out.
Yes,
5 years ago. And it went off to a television production house. It's either TV or movies. I can't remember, one of the two. And it went off ages ago. I had notification this morning, months later, that they're looking at it over Christmas.
Oh, brilliant. Excuse me.
Well, yeah, that doesn't mean anything. I'm just amazed at how slowly these things work. It's just like not even a snail. It's like a snail moving through molasses, I guess, or something like that. How are your gigs going? Are you very busy over Christmas? That's what
yes and no. I've got a comedy gig this Friday, which I'm very much looking forward to.
Right.
And I've got a DJ gig on Thursday and then a DJ gig on Tuesday, which is Christmas Eve.
Right.
We don't stand there doing that.
Do you not?
No, that's what people who wash the glasses do. I'm not a glass washer. I'm a DJ. I'll have you know.
I got to tell you this story.
It's not that.
One of the gang in Soho, where I hang a lot, is called Rocking Dave. That's not his real name, but he's only ever known as Rocking Dave because he has a teddy boy hairdo, always the three-piece immaculate pinstripe suit, always looks for business. Oi, oi. And that's it's like oi, oi, everything's like that. Or if it's like in a restaurant and it's a bit windy, he goes, oi, oi, shut the Bobby Moore.
Shut the Bobby Moore.
Shut the Bobby Moore. So people are looking, they're going, what? And he shuts the door. So one day, Rocking Dave, whose real name is Alexis, he's just hilarious. He's just hilarious. He doesn't come into a room, he sort of explodes into a room.
Yeah.
And he's in somewhere with his mates. I think this was a couple of years ago. Music was too loud, right? It was driving him mad. And Rocking Dave, being Rocking Dave, does not hold back. If he thinks something's gonna, he's doing, he sorts it out. So he got up. He went up to the guy doing this. He goes, "Oi, mate, keep it down, trying to have a conversation here, right?" The guy was the dishwasher. He thought he was the DJ. And
I've heard stories. No, I've heard stories like that before, where drunk girls go up to people washing that and say, "Can you play me? Can you play me Beyonce? Can you play me Beyonce?" And of course they're washing the pubs.
But it made me laugh. It's so typical Rocking Dave. He is. Oh God, he is hilarious. Right. Anyway, so what have I got? I got a big funeral tomorrow. That I'm officiating.
How's the celebrity going? You still enjoying it? You must be.
It's a weird thing because I feel a little uncomfortable. And I think people will understand what I'm saying. I feel a little uncomfortable to say, yes, I'm really enjoying it. I am loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. But I'm not, I need to, thank you, Robert. I need to sort of put a bit more amplification behind that in as much as I'm loving the work. I'm loving being able to help people when they most need it. I'm not loving the fact that people are dying, but it's inevitable. That's how it is.
Well, I did the eulogy at my dad's funeral, and I thoroughly enjoyed the public speaking, even though I was grieving my dad. I don't think there's anything wrong with enjoying it.
It's a weird word because people think, oh, what are you? Are you a ghoul or you? No, you're dealing with people.
No, it's not mawkish at all.
No, you're dealing with people that need your help when they most need it, and you can do it. And what fascinates me is you're meeting people from every walk of life.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got 2 funerals very early January. One is a fireman, long retired. It wasn't anything tragic, who will be brought in on a fire engine with
Wow.
a full honor guard from the fire brigade. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be amazing. And the other guy was a dustman for 40 years.
Wow.
And, you have to choose 3 pieces of music. So I said to the family, what do you want? And the entrance music is, of course, Lonnie Donegan, My Old Man's a Dustman.
Yeah.
Marvelous. And then, the other week, you're dealing with someone who's one of the leading biochemist scientists in the world, serving on the Nobel Committee. So it's like, wow. It's just...
Yeah, and this Brian knows of what he speaks.
Sorry.
I think it shows total respect. You have to be a special person to be able to help people in that moment of time. Yes, and having worked, Brian, with Russ for many years, I know it will be super professionally done. There will be every T crossed and every I dotted. I just know that for a fact with you.
You're very kind.
It'll be very,
well,
very
I
good.
take it horribly serious. I probably overwork it, but I sort of overthink it. But there we go. We were thinking. Here's a kind of awkward situation. We're all missing Howard Hughes, who was our newsreader on Breakfast Show, a lot, and many of you loved him because of his podcast series, The Unexplained. And I think I said to you that couldn't make this up, on his death certificate, under cause of death, it says, I'm not making this up, unexplained. You couldn't make that up.
Do you know, I think he would love that.
I think he would, but I think
Am I speaking out of turn by saying that? I don't think so.
No, he would have loved it. He would have thought, oh, I don't know, Neil. I don't want any fuss. But I was talking to Chris Tarrant recently, and and I said, well, we should really do a memorial service. I think enough people would. What Chris and I were saying was that a lot of people feel the same. He's just gone. Now, the question I have for you, Neil, is that us being... Let me think how I can phrase this properly. Is that us being... Hello, Gillian. How lovely. The great Gillian Charkham.
Hello, Gillian. Good to have you tuned in.
Here's the question for you, Neil. We would like to have a memorial service for Howard Hughes, right?
Yeah.
We'd have to get permission from his sister. I don't know his sister. I'll have to delve around and try and get permission or whatever. Okay. Whatever. Here's the thing. Is that because we want closure? Me, Tarrant, all the gang, that we're being selfish, we want closure? Or is it because, and I don't know the answer, by the way, or is it because we think 1 minute he's there, the next minute he's gone? We want to show.
Could I say the answer could be both, and that's perfectly okay.
Yeah. Interesting. That's interesting, though. Because I was thinking, what is it? We want to just be, be there, look at us, aren't we clever? Or is it because we really think, well, it's just gone and it's just not been. I think what we feel is, how does this sit? How does this sit with you, Neil? That we don't feel we were able to mark his passing.
I think you're coming from a very good place, and I couldn't criticise your intention at all. It's all in the intention, isn't it? I couldn't criticise that at all.
Graham Pack being incredibly rude and insensitive. In the old days, 95.8 was the frequency. These days, it's your average age. If we get to 95.8, matey, we'll be bloody lucky. I don't think that's going to happen, fella.
Yeah. Well, I've seen your choice of women, Graham, and you kiss 100.
Oh, boom! In your face, Graham Pack. Yeah, baby.
That's 1-1, Graham. Over to you.
Comedy. That's why he is the king of comedy. I just wrote today, just before the show. I don't know if you're watching have you read any of the J.K. Rowling, where she goes under the name of Robert Galbraith, strike books? You ever done that?
No.
Okay, well then you won't get the point I was going to make. But on the BBC, they dramatised. The casting is absolutely brilliant, I must say. The casting for the strike books, I've read them all. Now, the last strike book was an absolute tome. It was huge. The last but one. It was called, they've just filmed it, it's called The Ink Black Heart. I had it in audio form as well. It was 33 hours long.
Goodness me.
33 hours. Average audio book, anywhere between 4 hours, 6 hours. tops 10, 12, tops, absolute tops, 33 hours long.
Did it keep you engaged?
Yeah, I mean, it was the point I was making on Facebook. It was really complicated, very frightening, very insidious in the way you're sucked into this horrible online game that the characters are forced to play, to discover. And BBC have condensed it to 4 hours, 4 1-hour shows. And it's become like a cartoon. It's like, oh, you're not giving it, you can't. There's so much information, so much to unpack, so much depth and complexity. You can't whack it in. It's not an episode of, Death in Paradise. Death in Paradise works beautifully in 56 minutes because you've got middle, beginning, middle, and end in that order. You know what's going to happen. Boom. That's it. There's a murder. It gets solved. Finished. But this is I'm surprised, really. It really needs to be like an 8-part series or something like that. And I saw today, to my great amusement, Black Doves, which I know you haven't seen, but I had more interactions on Facebook about my comments about Black Doves than I think anything, really. And Black Doves has just been commissioned.
Yes, it was very funny. Your post,
for series 2. This one, Keira Knightley eats a sandwich. I think that's the main drama. Somebody replied to me, she looks very thin. Is she that slim in real life? Well, I once had dinner with her years ago. It was me. There's a wonderful picture of me, Jerry Springer, and Keira Knightley. It was an event that I was producing. And boy,
what were you doing with Jerry Springer?
He was one of our guests. He was absolutely fantastic. He was the late great Jerry Springer was just charming. He was lovely, and it was a great pleasure for me to meet him. It was nice meeting Keira Knightley. She's perfectly nice woman. But yeah, some of these stars are incredibly slim, but that's their choice. It's none of our business, But I was just curious that people said, "Is she like that really, or is it for the television?" No, that's what she's like.
Well, you can't wear a thin suit, can you?
No, but you could be like Christian Bale. He did a thing. I think, what the hell was it called? Is it The Mechanic? Well, that was a Jason Statham film. But I think he was in a film and he starved because there's a scene where as the film progresses, he gets thinner because he's having enormous mental anguish. I'm going to bore you with why. And there's a shot where he's standing on the scales, just wearing a pair of underpants, and you're shocked. Yeah. But that's not CGI. That was Christian Bale, who really is very slim. Right. Graham Pack says this. Some of us are built for comfort, not speed. Well, this is true. And the older we get, the more difficult it is to stay. Unless you're myself and Neil. 2 magnificent specimens of masculinity. Unbelievable.
Hi, girl.
Let me ask you a question, Neil Longie Long. They're still banging on. I can see on X, Twitter. I still call it Twitter, to be honest. There's still endless stuff about Greg Wallace. Give it up. Stop it. What's the?
You see,
give it up.
I don't want to speak out of turn here.
We're not speaking out of turn. It was meant to be your show today.
This is your baby, not mine. I do feel if he's done it, then fair enough, he needs to be brought to account. However, he seems to have lost everything with as yet unproven allegations. And I've believed for a long time that these things should not be reported on until people have been found at least guilty in a court of law with the evidence properly studied, because anyone could say anything about anyone,
of course,
and they could get absolutely cancelled. Oh, he did that to me back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Apparently some girl, I mean woman, obviously, I always use the word girl when I say women, but some woman has said that I had sex with her over the bonnet of a car. This was in my capital days. No, I didn't.
I couldn't get those stains.
I didn't even know who she was.
I couldn't get those stains off my bonnet. I had to use bloody tea-cut. Took me ages.
Never happened, but it didn't. And the point is, she could have said anything, and You know what I mean?
I've had this. Do you know what? I had this conversation, that the one we're having now with Patman, when Neil Fox, who's our friend, when Neil Fox had that horrendous situation and lost everything, arrested in the studio of Bauer. I mean, God's sake, come on, he's not like a mass murderer. And Bauer just dumped him. It was horrible. The whole thing was horrible. And he's back, and he deserves to be back. And nothing.
Right,
he was completely exonerated from it. Completely exonerated from it. And I'm not. I just want to be clear. I'm not just saying this because we know him, we work with him, and we're mates. Because if he'd have done it, we'd have said, "Well, you're a dick." But he hadn't done anything. You do lose everything, but there were crimes. He hadn't committed any. All right, let me just make it wider. To be found guilty of something, you have to be on a crime or a charge. You have to be charged with something. Greg Wallace hasn't been charged with anything. There's no criminal activity there. I'm not a fan, by the way. I just, it's one of the great things about life. It can be nuanced. You can say, I really don't like this person. I don't like their personality. I don't like them. Watching them, they annoy me. And you can also say, well, he didn't commit any crimes. It was probably rubbish behavior. Didn't read the room, didn't move on with the times. But
that's not a crime.
But it wasn't a crime.
And no, I wouldn't like to see people feel uncomfortable. There's a line between banter and bullying. We've talked about this before.
There is.
An awful lot. And the word banter has been somewhat bastardized, where people bully and go, "It's only banter. Can't you take a joke?"
It's not only banter.
No, that's bullying. But I have incredible banter with my work colleagues, female work colleagues, because we know each other well enough, and our boundaries are well and truly so much in place that we know it's just a joke. You should see the Christmas card I've got one of my colleagues. But
well,
there's this group of people that seem to jump on anything and have someone cancelled just because they don't like you. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I know exactly. Well, Greg is finished. I mean, the point is, there's no recovering from this.
And even if he did make inappropriate comments, does someone deserve to lose everything forever? Does the punishment fit the crime? Does it?
Well, we've got to be terribly careful with the words we're using, because I know it's a phrase, does the punishment fit the crime? The crime he committed was being a twat and not shutting up and not listening to people saying, you know what, we're living in 2022, 23, 24. You can't do this anymore. You just can't. It's like, how can I liken it? It's like, I'm going to send you a fax. Well, you can't send a fax. No one's got a fax machine anymore. But they were great. Yes, they were at the time. And now we've moved on. We don't have fax. We don't have telex machines, which were a nightmare. You've got all that situation. So you've got to read the room. No, yesterday at lunch, you can imagine what the banter is like. Because we've known each other for 40 years. Ripping. It's the same.
For the benefit of those that don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry. Yesterday was the old gang from Capital Radio would get together. Chris invites us to have lunch somewhere in town, and we all get together around a big table.
Who was there?
Me, Pat Sharp. Woo woo.
He never ate.
And then Annie didn't make it, but Susan was there, who was Chris's PA for like forever, and now hugely successful.
And has been a guest on this show in the past.
Has been a guest. She's hugely successessy.
Lovely lady.
Bernie, who is now,
she's
fantastic. Bernie, who is now Chris's PA. Osboy, Mike Osboy, was there, who's come up with a genius idea. Osboy has come up with the most brilliant idea. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Now, put it into perspective. Osboy was our sort of tech guy. Anybody less geeky you have yet to meet is an absolute force of nature. He's an amazing boy. And he loves caravans and going caravanning and traveling. That's what he likes to do with his missus, right? He came up with the idea because he's radio through and through. Caravan radio. A whole, and we started to, he said, no, don't take the piss, Russ. I said, I haven't. I said, I'm stunned because it's genius. The great thing in life, find something niche that people love and you'll have a success. It's a radio station dedicated just to people in the caravan industry. So at first he thought, well, I'll give it a go. And of course it cost him money to do it. Now people are trying to rip his arm off because every advert, I know. Well, we pitched my old business partner and I, when we had the previous radio station Incarnation, which closed at the beginning of the year, we pitched to Fix FM. We did shows for them and pilots for them. It never worked out. And not everything in life works out. You just move on. Okay. But Caravan is brilliant. Think about this. You'd love this, Neil, because every advert is just for, phone in now. People go, oh, I need that it's specific. And it's just, he wanted to get there's some huge podcast. It's not an area I know anything about. And there's some huge podcast who wouldn't even reply to his, Osboy reached out. And now the guy contacted him. Can I be on can I be part of it? It's a huge hit. I'm so pleased for him. He's a one-man band.
He does it all by himself?
Yeah, does the whole thing himself. He's brilliant. And he's doing
the whole thing himself?
Yeah, well, he does. And of course, he produced and worked with Paul McKenna for many, many years. So Paul is the voice. Paul is the voice of Caravan FM or whatever it's called, Caravan Radio, and is helping. Fix FM was a big hit. They made a fortune from it, and well done. It was another very clever idea. Fix FM was a radio station just for builders, so we just on the building site, and made a lot of sense. Jonathan Baz, the great theatre critic, the BBC. You read this out because
we're talking about Greg Wallace. The BBC wants to hire a greengrocer. They got a greengrocer. Yeah. That being said, Greg scaled to the lofty heights of public recognition. So therefore, when he's toppled or tumbled, he's got a lot further to fall. But that's the nature of the media. They will elevate you, lift you up, and then find the slightest thing to bring you down, and then bring you back and make it look like it was all their idea in the first place.
Yeah, it's
utterly hypocritical.
Jonathan Baz is absolutely right. The BBC here was the thinking, right? They thought cooking shows are too elitist, right? I know. Let's get a greengrocer, a bit of a geezer, and it'll appeal to a much wider audience. That's the logic behind hiring Greg Wallace. He wasn't a food expert. He was a greengrocer from Covent Garden. Well, nothing wrong with that because it's great. Who doesn't like fruit and veg, right? So they got what they wanted. A geezer, right? Shows a huge hit. And then things change. But it's like, if you go out and say, I want a Rottweiler dog, and you get a Rottweiler dog, and you suddenly think, oh, it's too big. It's a bit too aggressive. What I really wanted was a Maltese little puppy. Too late. You bought a Rottweiler. That's how it works. So, be careful. I guess the thing is, be careful what you wish for. The only thing I'm saying is, I'm just stunned, and I think you share this, Longie, that they're still banging on about this non-event when there's so much diabolical stuff happening in the world.
I know.
It's just distraction.
I know. What is this obsession with? I mean, it's. Does the punishment fit the crime? It's not even a crime because he hasn't even been charged with anything. It's just inappropriate behaviour. I say just, and if you're on the receiving end of that, it's not very nice, and it needs to be brought to account. However, it doesn't require someone's life being wrecked for
it's destroyed
forever. I mean, the punishment doesn't fit the crime, does it?
No. If he was smart, what he'd do what Jim Davidson did. And Jim Davidson, you don't see him on TV anymore because you just won't leave it at that. And Jim Davidson started a thing called Ustream, which is his own sort of video channel.
I know, yeah.
And he has loads of people that you and I both know, Mike Osmond and people like that, on the shows. And they're very successful. It's a subscription-based service, and it does very well. And if Greg Wallace was smart, what he'd do is say, well, I'm never going to get back into mainstream media again, apart from mainstream media is dead anyway. So I'll start my own channel, and there'll be loads of people who think and behave like him. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying I like it. What I'm saying is there are still thousands of people out there who are unreconstituted, and he'd probably have a hit on his hands, and he could do what he wants. It beyond, it would be censored as long as it's not obscene. What do you think?
Probably. I just think I don't think things should be reported until people are found guilty. I really don't. I've thought that for ages.
Well, you're now tried.
There's something on
Netflix. Unless you break a female police officer's nose, obviously, you're now tried in the court of public opinion.
There's a thing on Netflix, and it's an American true crime thing, and it's a tragic murder of a little girl who was 6, and it is tragic. And the parents got accused, and I'll say now they were completely innocent. Completely innocent. Yep. And what the media did was I was getting angrier and angrier and angrier watching it at what the media did. You think our media is bad over here? It was horrendous. It was disgusting what the media did to them.
It is.
Absolutely disgusting. Accusing her little 9-year-old brother of doing it, and it was a complete lie. And that wasn't the worst of it.
This wasn't the little girl who was the beauty pageant queen, was that it?
That's right.
Oh, it was her. That case has never gone away. That case has never ever gone away. It's a name like Bissonnette, or it's an unusual
Joe Benet. Joe Benet, something like that.
The case it wasn't the
parents. And at a time like that, they need support, not to be shunned from everyone and tried in the court of public opinion by absolute blatant lies by the media. Just because they want a story. It was disgraceful. I found myself getting more and more angry, and I rarely do that. Dave A. Sweet.
Yeah, go on. After you.
Sat in our wellbeing suite at the new mental health clinic. The obsession with GW after the issues raised and dealt with is just discretion and moral self-gratification. Ooh. Now there's a big one, because we did there's an awful lot of people that, how can I put it, have a voice that shouldn't, or get all upset about something and then want that person's life ruined or wrecked, or just keyboard warriors and all this sort of stuff. It's not healthy. It really, really isn't. No. But if you watch this thing, but it's tame over here compared to what it's like in America. Good God. You watch the first episode of that. And
I can't watch it because it is so upsetting. It's so good. I'm not sure anyone's ever been charged with her death.
No one's been caught.
No one's been charged. No.
But it wasn't the parents.
And you're saying
the little 9-year-old boy.
Or
brother.
It was,
This utter, cruel, twisted, distorted bullshit was on national TV.
Oh, yeah.
One syndicated show, like a national TV show, held a mock trial. And found the parents guilty on live TV.
That's that's despicable.
Yeah, and I was getting more and more angry, thinking this is crazy. And there was one woman who was on there, and if you watch it, it's the woman that commented on the saxophone bit. I won't be too graphic, but I could have reached through the TV and punched her. And I've never hit a woman and never will.
Thanks, Greg.
My God. It was ignorance at its uttermost dangerous, most ignorant. It really was, in my opinion.
It's one of the things that we go through life thinking is that most people are pretty smart. Really? Really? They're not. Some people are very smart. Most of us are just average. We potter along. And some people are as dumb as rocks. And you can persuade them of absolutely persuade them of anything. It's interesting. The tide will turn. Yes. In America, I'm obsessed with everything to do with American politics and American media, much more than here. I don't really care about so much. I've given up. I'm closing my eyes for the next 4.5 years to this mob that's thrown down the dustbin of history, which they will be, and never come back. I've never seen such a group of liars in my life. It's unbelievable. I mean, all politicians are terrible, but this is a new, a new nadir, of which I've never seen. Anyway, in America, excuse me, ABC, the big ABC network. I don't know if you know this, Longie. Have just had to pay Trump out of court $15 million, because they allowed one of their big anchors. I'm not being rude, they're called anchors, no W involved, to just do a whole load of lies that were blatantly untrue. And normally there's no comeback from that. People just accept it. And Trump thought, well, screw this, I'm not having this. And they caved instantly. They caved like that. And they paid 15 million quid to make it go away.
But the lies they spread on this Joe Benet, it was just blatant, most ridiculous lies.
Why did
and the whole country was obsessed. Yeah, the latest tittle tattle, and the poor parents. Number one, they've just lost their daughter, and number two, they're being tried in the court of public opinion. It was shameful.
It is shameful.
Shameful. And I don't normally get this heated about this kind of thing, but it was absolutely effing disgusting. And I was getting so angry. I was watching it on my phone. I was shouting at the phone. Literally.
That was awkward on the bus.
Huh?
That was awkward on the bus.
I know, shouting at my phone while shopping naked in Tesco's, as I like to think.
Dave Fleet, as ever, the brain of a genius he is.
Yeah.
But first of all, where is your new mental health clinic? Where is it, Dave? Let me know. That's the first thing. But he's right. Why do you know what it is? A vast swathe. Let's just call it what it is. A vast swathe of people have shitty lives. It's a fact. They have a horrible life. They hate their family, or they hate their husband or wife, or the kids are ghastly, have a crap job that they really hate doing and they have to do it. That's how it is. So it gives them the most enormous pleasure to mess up. I cleaned up what I was going to say, to mess up somebody else's life because they're bored and they're powerless. They've got a boss, they've got a yes sir, no sir, they've got to do it. Hello, Philip. And so being as you've already used the perfect phrase, keyboard warrior, sitting in their mum's spare bedroom in their underpants, writing all this
second-hand Tesco's laptop.
That's the one.
And there was a program once. It was a documentary where they actually chased down trolls, these people that intimidate women online.
Yeah.
And when they chased them down, they were all sad losers, all of them.
Of course they are.
Oh, well, it was just a joke. You know what I mean?
It was just banter when you threatened to kill somebody. Just banter. No, I threatened to kill you. It's very interesting. It brings us right back to The Ink Black Heart, which is Robert Galbraith, i.e. J.K. Rowling, her book, and what that appears to be about. Is really. It's a very complicated story, but it's about A, creativity, but B, at the heart of it, no pun intended, is that the trolling that J.K. Rowling has endured for years because of her stance on there are only two sexes and transgender and all the rest of it, the trolling on her has been despicable. Despicable. Whether you like Harry Potter, whether you like the Strike books, it's irrelevant. No one deserves this level of disgusting, manic hatred. No one. Well, obviously the Prime Minister. But apart from him, or an Angela Rayner, and Rachel Reeves, and David Lammy. But apart from
that,
no one deserves death threats. No one. No one. It's disgraceful. Absolutely. Let me ask you this. Somebody once threw some crap in the street at what's his name, Corbyn. Got banged up.
At who? What? Sorry.
Somebody a few years back threw some stuff at Jeremy Corbyn. Was arrested, charged, and banged up in prison.
What did he throw? What was it?
Well, it was nothing. It wasn't like acid or anything. It was just some, I don't know, eggs or something. I don't know what.
Okay.
It was like, domestic produce. It wasn't anything chemical, right? The attention-seeking piece of trash who threw milkshake all over Nigel Farage and arrived in court wearing a Free Palestine badge, by the way, right? Let off. The cases are identical. She's let off with like a slight slap on the wrist, no jail time, no nothing. Unbelievable. That's where we are in Britain today. I don't understand it. It's the same judge. This guy. It ain't going to end well, folks. I'm telling you that now. It really will not end well. Right. What does Brian say, Neil?
Brian Kingsford, with social media platforms so easy to access nowadays, people can be discriminated against before they're even aware of it. Brian, can I have your permission to tell on here what you've created, your online thing, because it's brilliant. But just for various reasons, I'm going to ask you permission before I talk about it. But I would definitely like to talk about it on here because Brian knows of what. Yes, okay. Brian created a while ago a platform called Red Alert, and it was just done locally after an unpleasant incident happened in his life, and he realised that 100 pairs, 200 pairs of eyes is better than one. So he created this online thing called Red Alert, where 10 years ago, where if someone is missing or a dog is missing or something's going on in your community, you can post and everyone could be alerted for it. And it was so successful. It's now gone national.
Wow.
What is your membership count now, Brian? Just brilliant. And it's just run by this wonderful local man and a team of volunteers. So if you go to Facebook and search for Red Alert.
It's on Facebook, is it?
Yeah, go to Facebook and search for Red Alert and you'll find it. And that is the brainchild of Brian Kingsford. What is your membership? Look at that.
No way. Wow.
Absolutely brilliant.
Sir. Bravo.
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, that's incredible. What can you say? Absolutely brilliant online thing. But Brian will know that there's some things that people will just jump on a platform just to spew hatred. And I'm sure, Brian, there's been comments you've had to moderate and take off because people will just want to spew hatred anywhere. And you do have to be strict because that's not the purpose of the forum. And it starts getting in that, and then the original intention behind it, which was to have many pairs of eyes and to help people, would be lost. So of course you have to do that, and I understand
So I don't know. I'm making this up. So heaven forbid I'm not making a kid because that gets me too upset. Your dog goes missing. I don't know. Let's just say your dog goes missing. Heaven forfend. I've got a story to tell you in a minute. And you can go onto Red Alert, Brian Kingsford, brainchild, and say, look out for a Doberman Pinscher.
Yes, exactly. In the local area.
Okay.
Because even though it's national, it's localized nationally, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant idea.
A brilliant idea.
That's a great
idea.
Really,
really good idea. Perhaps we'll get Brian on the show one day to talk about it.
More than welcome. Brian, you're very, very welcome.
I'm not going to say why, but now isn't the time. But
no, I know why. We'll do it early when Brian's ready, maybe early in the new year or January, February, whenever Brian's available. Is this something for us? Is this clean-ish?
No, not really. But it's not the one. I tell you what, you could do if you like. I could play this, and then you can watch the one that I've put in the private chat.
Oh, by the way, I was talking about you yesterday to Patman and various others, and everyone says,
Do you know, I'm still a fan.
Everybody sends their love to you, and everyone says, do you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to embarrass you because I know Neil won't think like this, but I'm going to embarrass you. And I just said, oh, I worked with Neil during the week, and it's great. And they go, I promise you, they all said this. He's such a lovely guy. They all said the same thing.
Thanks.
You were much thought of.
It was a privilege to work with those people. Mike Osborne gave me an absolute roasting on my first day at Capitol because I wasn't using the jingles properly.
Oh, well, yeah, they were hardcore. I mean,
I'm not
here's the
saying
thing about life. Here's the thing about life. This is an interesting thing, right? There you are. It's your first day. There's Mike Osborne, who didn't take nonsense from anybody. He's a tough fella in many ways. And he's like Mr. Tech, Mr. Production, etc.
I'm brilliant.
You didn't go and sulk about it. You learnt from it. Am I right?
Yes.
It was upsetting at the time, possibly. You probably went home.
No. When I say roasting, I don't mean bad. It was just like, use the bloody jingles properly. Do you know what I mean? But to be fair, no one had told me. He was the first to tell me. But it was a privilege to work with those people. With Chris Tarrant, wow! I used to set my alarm at 6:30 to listen to the start of Chris and Tara. And Pat, I remain a fan of Pat Sharp to this day. I think the man is brilliant.
But here is the annoying thing about Pat Sharp. I'm going to be very honest. I don't mind saying
he never ages, and I hate him for that.
He looks exactly the blooming same. It is so infuriating. The rest of us, we look different. Of course we blooming do, right? I look pictures of from like 40 years ago. I was like, duh, right? Now I go, hello, Dad. Every morning I look in the mirror. I try not to very much, as you can see from my appearance. But Pat-Man, unbelievable. Looks incredible. Right. You're going to play this. I'm going to listen to this privately. So you play this.
Okay. So shall I take you off for a second?
Yes, take me off completely.
Right. Russ is listening to something which is probably a little bit strong, even for the midday show. But this is something silly. I hope you like it. It's called I Like Beer Guts by Sir Drinks a Lot.
Oh my God, Chardonnay Mercedes, look at his gut, it's so big.
Oh no, Chlamydia, it looks like he's 9 months pregnant.
Oh, but who understands these older guys?
They're only drinking spoons because it's cheap and there's a meal deal.
I mean, his gut is just so big, I cannot believe it's just so round. It's like out there, I mean, gross.
Oh my God, look, he's showing his ass crack. Gross!
I like beer guts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny that when a man walks in with an itty bitty waist, it's out of place. You get jeans, want to pull up tough, but they won't go over enough. Under the gut, the jeans I'm wearing, I'm hooked up, my belt is straining. Oh baby, I won't get rid of ya. I'm gonna keep on filling ya. My homeboys try to warn me, but the gut I've got so hungry. Ooh, bumpo smooth skin. You say you wanna get me drinking? Well, use me. I'm not your average foodie. You seen him dancing? That belly's bouncing, sweating nasty. Still got room for a pasty. I'm tired of magazines saying 6-packs are the thing. Take the average beer gut and look round the back. He's showing his ass crack. So ladies, has your boyfriend got a gut?
Hell yeah!
Tell him to shake it. Shake that beer gut. Baby got crack, 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 yeah.
There we go. I hope you enjoyed that. I like beer guts, and I cannot lie. He's back. We can't hear you.
Holy moly. I didn't quite finish it, but some part of it, it's very funny. So I'm going to say, go on to Biffin Brothers, Biffin, Biffin Brothers, and have a butcher's, because all of Neil's content is up there in it.
I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right for here, though.
It's
a little edgy, shall we say?
It's very clever. It's horribly clever. Graham, I didn't see. Oh, what a waste, says Philip Harling. Very good. Was it well received? How many of these videos do you do? And how long do they take to put together? Because they look
about
very
35
clever.
of them now. That's tactful of you, Brian. Thank you.
Different.
Yeah, Brian. When the time's right, you're very welcome to come on here and talk about Red Alert. Because I thought it was a great idea. It just shows what can be done on a grassroots level. I think is my takeaway from that.
What Brian has proved is something that I've been saying for a long time, is that we are all our own radio stations. We are all our own newspapers. We are all our own televisions. Mainstream media, whether they like it or not, is dying, if not dead. And we don't trust, many people don't trust the traditional news outlets, etc., etc., etc. I mean, CNN getting the guy in the Syrian jail. What a setup. Unbelievable. Just utter BS. Total BS. And it's been called out. And will there be any ramifications for it? Nothing. Did you follow that case? Did you follow what they did?
I saw something a little bit about it. I don't know the full backstory.
Basically, there's a CNN reporter who, let's just say, has a history, because there's a classic shot. She's lying down. I'm hiding in a crater while the war rages above me, and then they're so thick, you just see people walking past her. She's just lying down while people are carrying on shopping and stuff. Yeah, I know. You couldn't make it up, but it's true. So then this same genius goes into the Syrian prison, right? And just happens to find a prisoner who's been there for months on end in solitary confinement, and they just rescued him. Well done, CNN. Except he's been there for months. His manicure is absolutely perfect. His beard is beautifully trimmed. He hasn't seen daylight in months. They walk out into the brilliant Middle East sunshine. The guy doesn't even blink. The whole thing is the worst setup. It's pathetic. I know, that's CNN. That used to be, you used to be able to trust it as far as I could throw it. So that's why. And eventually, what Brian Kingsford has proven is that if you want something done, as my late mum used to say to me, she said, Russell, if you want something done, do it yourself.
He says he'd like to come on the show. So what we do, Brian, we'll leave it to the early part of the new year and come on and have a good old chat about Red Alert, because it is an interesting thing, and I don't know many people that have done things like that, and it's frankly a fantastic achievement. So fair play to you.
You know what it is? All great ideas. At the heart of them are very simple. I'm not talking about brilliant inventions because they're technical. Elon Musk's and the stuff that he's done. They're incredible. They're incredible technical, scientific feats. Amazing physics, chemistry, and everything else. But great ideas at the very heart of them are very simple. That's the beauty of them. It makes sense. And, I've always been a libertarian, that we should worry about our own area. I'm not an isolationist, but what I mean is you should worry about your own area before worrying about everybody else. Get your own house in order.
I think if you worry about everything else, you won't be effective at all. But if you focus on what your strengths are and support network, that makes you powerful. You wouldn't need to do incredible, stupid stunts to try and get attention. You'd be able just to kind of go your own way and be kind of quietly powerful, if you know what I mean. And then it works out from there. And then the brilliant ideas like Red Alert come into being and things like that.
But, it's always a thing that...
Brian could have stayed complaining about the state of the world or the reason why he set up Red Alert in the first place, or he could do something proactive about it. I think that's the point I'm trying to make. It was. But it's just the way it grew. It really captured people's imaginations. It just grew and grew and grew and grew. And it's just a small team of volunteers.
But the thing is, if you if you care and you realize that the government of any persuasion, I'm not doing a party political broadcast on behalf of anyone.
I think you might want to check your spelling there, because you've just been funny without meaning to be, Philip.
Yes. So I won't tell you who else was there yesterday. David Briggs, the man who changed my life.
He's the guy I didn't recognise.
Yeah, David was there. He was the man who hired me in 1984, changed my entire course of my life. Anywho, what I was going to say about Brian and other people is you realise the government are not going to come to help you. It doesn't matter who they are, and they're not coming. And there's a wonderful phrase they have in America, and it's a phrase that I've adopted. I make no bones about it. We are the cavalry. I don't mean me and Neil. We, all of us, we are our own cavalry. If you're waiting for the cavalry to come and rescue you from over the hill, they ain't coming. They're not coming. We are the cavalry. And that's how you have to go through life. So when you realize that you need help in the community, you set something up and you get on with it. No point asking other people. They're not going to help you. They're not going to do it. They don't care. They don't care. It'll rebalance, but it won't rebalance for years. Not for years. Yeah. Excellent point. Oh, sorry. Excellent point.
Similar thing, isn't it, Graham?
Yeah. Mum's net. It's a brilliant idea. Yeah. 3 months. 3 months. There was a chat. I went to this luncheon. I was a guest because I don't go to charity dues. I've done it for 40 years. Enough's enough. I'll give, but I'm not going to. I just can't bear it. I'm sorry, it's one of my things. And I went. It was a very nice lady who invited me, and the tickets were crazy money. And I went. It was a splendid afternoon with Rory Bremner, etc., etc. And one of the charities, there were 2 charities being supported. And one of them was run by 3 people. That was it. That was the whole staff. 3 people. Beautiful. Effective. Helping those families whose children have epilepsy.
Yeah.
And if you've ever seen anyone have an epileptic fit, holy moly, it is terrifying. Absolutely. I can't describe
Emily Kate Owen, who's co-presented with me on here before, fantastic professional colleague and lovely lady. She does charity once a week. She has a little boy with special needs. And she does charity for parents. I can't remember exactly the name off the top of my head, but it's very niche, and that's the point. It's kind of, I think the wisdom is stay in your own lane, because she could try and cover everyone and just wouldn't be able to do it. But in this small niche, she could be very, very effective. And they did a quiz last year, which I went along to. It was a quiz, and it was fantastic. It was fun. They raised a ton of money. But she wouldn't have done that if she tried it.
I never know if I love that saying or I don't love that saying. Stay in your own lane. It's like,
well, it depends how you mean it. If it means stay in your box, I don't like it. It doesn't. No, I don't mean it that way. Difference. Yeah, it's not. I'm not using it in a demeaning way. What I mean is, you can get pulled in all directions. And to use Emily Kate as an example, or Brian, if they'd have been pulled in all directions, then they wouldn't be as effective. But focused, it's focus. It's stay in your own lane means focus, essentially. That's what I mean.
Another way of doing it is play to your skills. Not be scared to try new things, because that's hopeless. But recognize what your skills are and maximize those skills. So absolutely. That's why you suddenly said, I am going to do stand-up comedy, which is beyond brave. If you haven't done it, trust me, it's brave. It's brave, because if it goes wrong,
it has done on occasion.
It will do. That's part of it. But when I do my stand-up shows,
that's the learning curve. That's the learning curve.
And also because if you're in a big production in the West End, and you have an off night, you can always say, "Oh, the director gave me bad directions," or it was Fred Smith in the chorus, he was rubbish today, or the orchestra just weren't. You can always find an excuse. When you do occasionally what I do and what Neil does all the time, there is just you. You've written it. You can't blame anybody. You can't blame the lighting, the sound, nobody.
Things help, though. Things help. Sometimes the audience is really up for it and they're great.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not. Sometimes it might land with the audience. I wouldn't say blame the audience, but they are a component. Having a good MC is really, really important as well. A really good MC. There's some people I know, they don't MC, they just introduce people. There's a difference, because MCing is a lot of crowd work and warming the crowd up, getting the crowd on side, being friendly to them, and all that sort of thing.
Neil done his first stand-up at disco at mine and Ray's wedding, and
first time I've combined DJing and stand-up comedy. Yeah, we did a little comedy show at Brian's wedding disco.
Walked off stage to a slow hand clap, didn't realise I was. That's very funny. Realised I was wearing flip-flops.
Shall we? What's the Christmas schedule for the midday show?
I have absolutely no one. I got to make it up. I think we'll do Friday, and then I think we'll just ease up probably. I think. I don't know.
Until the new year?
Till about June.
June 2028, yes.
June 2028.
Hello, Paula. Paula Southern just joined. What's the subject?
No way!
We're talking about all kinds of things today, Paula. We're just ripping, really.
Right. Paula,
you're very welcome,
Southern.
Paula.
How lovely to see. Oh, we worked together, and everything was just right.
Where did you work?
Capital. I'd be flying, and Paula would be in my earphones. She was fantastic.
Did Paula work at Capital? I never knew.
Yes. She was fantastic.
Hi, Paula. I'm Neil Long. I did the overnights. Nice to see you. I don't think we ever met.
But Paula lives. Do you live in Australia now? Am I going completely mad? Which would, in my case, very short journey. Very short. Yeah, because I had to have obviously help from. I couldn't just see everything. You know, only God can do that. Yeah. And so Paula was one of my just right. Yeah. Yes, we can, Paula. Just right. So Paula was trying this new. It's so silly. I don't know how long ago. Remember we talking about 30 years or something. About 30 years. They just brought out a new cereal called Just Right, and Paula was having it for breakfast. So we'd be chatting. You know, while the music's playing. So really, it's only so many times you can hear ABBA. Right. Let's talk about the New Jersey UFOs. Do you want to talk about that?
UFOs or UGOs?
I don't know what an Uggo is. Aren't they rather nice suede boots?
No, that's UGG. Oh, New Jersey UFOs. Yes. Let's do the last 2 minutes of the show on the New Jersey. New Jersey,
you're out of New Jersey. I'm telling you, there's a UFO out there.
Do you want to hear my only joke about New York?
Yes, please. We'd love to hear.
I was in New York, and someone said to me, because I had a stain down my shirt, and they said, you've soiled your shirt. And I said, soiled? I only bought it this morning. Anyway, over to you.
Yeah, the UFOs are the new eye in the sky. They're the new flying eye.
Come on, let's talk about the New Jersey UFOs.
In New Jersey, just on New Jersey, are hundreds of drones, apparently not being operated by drone people. And these things are huge. They are the size of an SUV. Like, so they're the size of a big BMW or, you know, a big Nissan or something. They're massive. When people go to investigate, and there are dozens and dozens and dozens of people filming these things, they're there. It's not like, oh, and then it disappeared behind a cloud. No, they're there. And when they send up jets and things, the lights go out and you can't find them. So the Americans saying, all the people go, nothing to worry about. It's okay. And then some senior government official, right, from New Jersey comes out and says, yes, this is the best bit, because I love the language. They're from Iran, right? And the mothership, how many times did he see Independence Day, right? Once too many, I suspect. The mothership is just out on the water, and the rest of the drones are coming from the mothership. And then people from the White House under the Biden administration, yeah, he's still alive, are saying there's no mothership out there and they're not coming from Iran. But then the argument says, well, Iran did a deal with the Chinese. They've got all the Chinese technology. Anyway, these drones are all over military installation. They're everywhere. And no one knows what the hell they are.
I saw something in the paper today.
There you go.
Paula, and it was an instruction by the official Department of Homeland Security and many other departments in America not to shoot down flying things because number one, there's a lot of hobbyists. A lot of them are legitimate, and some of them are manned aircraft. That's with real people in, and
That's
shooting
really
them down. Number one is illegal, and number two, dangerous. So please don't do it.
But then some of the government people are saying, we got to shoot these things down. We got to shoot them. And these, as it's America. No. It just was the mothership. It wasn't the mother anything else ship. It's an extraordinary story. And no one knows where they're coming from, what they are, but they are huge. I mean, I'm talking about like a little drone from a hobby shop. I'm talking about something the size of a big BMW or a big...
But all the same, don't shoot them down. It's dangerous and illegal.
Well, are we worried? Well, I don't think they're coming from another another galaxy. Let's be honest. I don't think they're coming from another galaxy. They're coming from somewhere on Earth. Why New Jersey? Maybe they're just all Bruce Springsteen fans. And they're just, it's a big publicity for the boss.
Maybe.
Paula, just answer me this, please, but with a message. Are you living in Australia now? Am I going completely mad? I thought you lived in Australia, which I don't know what the time would be in Australia now, but presumably it's tomorrow or last week, or you've already had Christmas and New Year. I never know. We'll never know. Am I right? You're in Australia?
We're
you're back.
Paula.
And you're keeping us here. I'm not closing the show until I get an answer.
Yeah, we're waiting.
She's in Perth. Oh, how fantastic. All the way from Perth, Australia, the delightful Paula Southern.
Lovely to see you, Paula.
Paula was very smart. She did a lot of very clever work in London, I have to say.
I don't think we've ever met.
The roads and everything. She's a
Lovely
very
to
nice
meet you,
woman.
Paula.
And on that note,
yes,
Longie Long. Oh, thank you. Well, we love hearing from you. We love hearing from everybody. But coming in from Perth, Australia, it's a big deal for our little tiny operation. Yeah, how lovely. Okay, like two-way family favourites with Gene Metcalf and Cliff Mitchell. Yeah,
so you'll be back on Friday with John.
I'll be back. Well, you can jump on Friday if you want. Jump on if you want.
I might pop in.
Yeah.
I might pop in. And if not, we'll see you in the new year, I guess, once Russ has done the schedule.
Yeah, we will. Once I've worked out what the hell the schedule is. Okay, I'll have to work out how to spell it. Until then, I'll be back on Friday with all the gang. Until then, bye-bye, everybody, and take care. Bye, gang.
Love you, have to squeeze you. Take care.
You're going to have to end the show because my computer won't do it. There you go.
I'm new here. What do I press?
Press the word that says end stream.
No, I don't know where that is. I'm not sure what.
It'll probably